Welcome to Locally Sourced. I'm Armanda Famiglietti. My guest tonight loves to make people laugh. And what's wrong with that? Welcome, Frankie Becerra.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So, Frankie, why did you want to become someone who makes people laugh? I mean, first of all, I should say you're a stand-up comic.
Yes, I am. I always wanted to do comedy. I started writing years before I ever did stand-up for the first time, and I think it just stemmed from it feels good to make people laugh. It's something I always loved doing. It's something that I always wanted to do. Once I saw that there were people doing it professionally for money, I saw that and I said, well, every other job seems terrible, so why not? Let's give this one a shot.
But it seems so hard to me. It seems so frightening to get up in front of an audience.
I tell people it's the scariest thing I do at least twice a week, and I think that's like the only aspect in which I am brave, if that makes any sense. Like I don't like
your
scary
entire
movies.
life.
Yeah, I don't like scary movies. It took me a while to get on a roller coaster, and that's it for me. That's
so you're
that's
cowardly.
where I get my thrills. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Your words, not mine, but I'll agree with that.
Me too. So we have that in common.
Yeah.
But I am certainly too cowardly
to
put myself out there that way.
Well, studies have shown that public speaking is like the number one fear in the world. Number two being death, which I think is interesting because you don't have to public speak. But like, spoiler alert, we're all gonna die.
Yeah, right.
So that I guess if I can do public speaking, I guess I'll be okay with death.
Yeah, death is gonna be
easy.
exactly.
It'll be a breeze.
No, a breeze.
Yeah.
So you do this for money?
Yes,
you say.
sometimes.
Yes. And if you're funny today, you don't expect any money because
fine.
We're non-commercial public access.
Yes.
You know that, right?
Yes.
And so, tell me about where you perform and where can people come and see you?
My next show will be at Lucy's Laugh Lounge in Pleasantville, New York.
And I think we have a poster.
Yeah, I hope so. It's a great poster. Lucy's Laugh Lounge is such a wonderful venue. Like I said, it's in Pleasantville, New York. It's right across from the Pleasantville train station. And there's the poster.
There's the poster, yeah.
Yeah, Thursday, December 27th. It's going to be a great show. This show is called Welcome to the Party. It's a show that I host, produce. This show is my baby in a way. This is the third time I'm doing this show. And the way I got started at Lucy's, actually, I just went to their open mic night, which they do every Monday night and every other Wednesday night. I'm actually hosting the Wednesday night open mic tonight.
Oh, great.
But I performed at the open mic night, and the owner of Lucy's Laugh Lounge...
Lucy?
No, actually. A great guy by the name of Frank Pellegrino. He saw me perform at the open mic night. And he said to me before I left, he said, hey, add me on Facebook. I want to talk to you. I said, okay, great, I will. Next day, I'm at work on my lunch break, and I get a few messages from Frank, and he says, I want to put you on these two shows coming up in the future. And this was January of this year, and he put me on a show in March that was they called it a New Comics Showcase, and it was me and about 5 or 6 other comics kind of at my level. We each did 10 minutes that night. And then the second show he put me on was in April, and that was opening for a bigger comic named Tommy Gooch. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He was great. It was really fun to open for him. And then since then, I've just been consistently doing shows at Lucy's Laugh Lounge. I've done like at least one a month there every month this year since then. And I think the first time I did Welcome to the Party was in June. I approached Frank and I said, hey, I want to produce my own show. I want to have my own show here. Can we make that happen?
Well, I noticed in the poster there were other people besides you, unless you wear disguises throughout.
Yes, I wear a bunch of different bodysuits. No,
no.
It's I host the show, and there's 4 other comics on the show with me. I'll get up and I'll do 10 minutes in the beginning, and then I'll introduce them one by one as they do their sets.
Okay. How do you know these comics?
I meet them doing other shows. I met them at open mics. One of the comics on two of the comics at the show, actually, I've met just at the Lucy's Laugh Lounge open mic, and 2 of the others I met from doing shows with them. One of them was a headliner that I opened for. One of them was another featured act on a show that I did. And so that's the whole point of Welcome to the Party, is that I want to have like a diverse lineup, but not necessarily diversity as we're used to hearing it in the media today. I want it to be like different styles of comedy, because I've done and I've seen too many shows where every comic on the show, there could be 6 comics on the show and they might as well all be the same person because of their material, their delivery, their style. When I put together a show like Welcome to the Party, I want it to be more of a mixed bag of comics and performers, and that's what I try to do with all the lineups. Like I said, this is the 3rd time I'm doing this show.
Have you performed in New York City?
I have, yes. I've done a few shows in New York City.
Where?
Yeah. I've been at Broadway Comedy Club. I've been at Stand Up New York. I've been at a few smaller venues in Brooklyn, but Is that different from performing in Pleasantville? It's different. I would say it's different mainly because Pleasantville is so much easier for me to get to.
Okay.
I'm up in Putnam County. It's a half-hour drive from where I am in Brewster, New York, and just getting down to the city, it's
hassle.
Yeah, it's not cheap. It's not quick. And granted, I would love to be down there more, but it's a lot. And that's why I'm so thankful for Lucy's Laugh Lounge in Pleasantville, because they've just been so great to have a venue like that, so local, to bump up the Westchester comedy scene a little bit.
So I think I know that we have some information about Lucy's. There it is. Where they just put it on. These smart people in the control room.
They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. But so it's across the street from the Pleasantville train station.
Yes, it is.
And you need tickets, or you just walk in?
You can, for my show, tickets are currently available at lucyslaughlounge.com. There will be a calendar of all the upcoming shows and whatnot. As I said, my show is December 27th, so it'll be higher up on the list because that's pretty soon.
Yes, that's very soon.
If tickets are still available the day of the show, you can get them at the door, but get them online early, because we're trying to sell this show out. That would be great.
Well, how many people does the room sit?
Room sits about 55 people, I believe.
That's not too bad.
Yeah.
And a cover charge, or
just purchase of tickets.
Terrific.
Yeah, no cover, no drink minimum, free parking.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's very
Sounds
nice
like a great place.
Yeah,
I think everyone should run over.
Yeah, I agree.
And you said that you're there about once a month. So you're going to be there again in January?
If they have me back in January, yes. Yeah.
So it all depends on...
It depends on my schedule. It depends on their schedule.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
I mean,
if I knock it out of the park later this month, then
everybody get over there on the 27th, because your career is at stake.
Right, exactly. Please
really
help.
what we're talking about. Okay. So you mentioned the diversity and different styles of performers. So, I think somebody is a stand-up, they get up and they tell jokes. Right. So tell me what other diversity, what other kind of styles are there?
I think everyone has their own voice when performing. And I think that's what, of course material is different, but I think voice is what really sets a lot of different comics apart. When I perform, I come at it with more of like a deadpan kind of, like, I don't show a ton of emotion on stage. I just kind of let the jokes do the talking, for lack of a better term. I hate that I just said that sentence, but like that's kind of what it is. Because what I've been doing lately is I leave the microphone in the stand, and sometimes for most of the show I'll just have my hands in my pockets and just talk through the jokes there, because I just found that works better for me. It was first 2.5 years, even 3, I was holding the microphone and like walking on the stage like comics will do. And I had a lot of people on the internet who would, like, if I post a video of me doing stand-up, would comment, like, hey, the way you walk around on the stage is weird. And granted, you should never pay attention to internet comments about anything ever.
No, unless they say you're beautiful.
Exactly, yeah. Listen to those.
And talented.
Let those get to your head, too. But when the walking thing, it just kind of stuck in my head. And then I was watching Julio Torres, who is... I think he was a writer for Saturday Night Live and also stand-up comic. He was doing stand-up on Late Night with Seth Meyers, and he did kind of the style that I do now, just left the mic in the stand, just talked at it right from there, stood still, and he knocked it out of the park. And I saw that, and I was like, I'm going to try that the next open mic I go to. And it's worked ever since.
So do you have role models? I mean, did you grow up watching people you really liked?
Saturday Night Live is the be-all, end-all for me. That's my favorite thing to watch, and that's spurred so many of my idols and role models, from Tina Fey, Chris Rock, Seth Meyers, everyone from there.
Have you ever seen a comic named Steve Wright?
Stephen Wright, yeah. I think so.
Because he's like the deadpan comic, right? And I went to school with him. I knew Steve in college.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And he was deadpan.
Yeah. Mitch Hedberg was another one that was like that, who was big for someone I look up to.
Yeah. But I mean, and it kind of gets to the point that who you are is often who you are on stage.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Right? Because
that was another thing I was worried about. Like, I would send videos of me on stage to my friends, and I'd be like, hey, does this, like, sound like me in real life too? And more often than not, they would be like, yeah, of course. And I'd be like, you didn't even watch the video. Like, I just and I felt like the way I perform now is more accurate to who I am in real life.
Do you find that when you are yourself on stage, which is really scary, that you connect better with the audience because they see a real person and not,
Because I think when I started out, I was trying harder to be entertaining, and I was trying to get more of an energy going.
Yeah,
with the
I think you should try a little harder during this interview.
Yeah, okay,
just
my
saying.
bad.
No, but keep going.
But and then when I kind of switched the styles up a little bit, I was like, well, this is me. This is what you're getting, and this is what works. So.
Right.
And like I said, it's been good ever since.
So I've seen comics on, like when they have their own specials on cable or something. They can get very personal about their lives. They talk, they say they're talking about their family members, their wives, their children. Do you do that? I mean...
I do to an extent, but my life's been pretty boring so far, I would say. I do, like, a lot of my stuff is about myself, my experiences, what I have going on. 24 years old, so I don't really have a wife and kids.
But you do have pets.
I do have 2 dogs, yes.
And you would incorporate them into your comedy?
They have been the stars of some of my Instagram videos, but they haven't made it into too many jokes yet. So maybe one day.
Well, they probably wouldn't get offended. Right?
I don't think so, no.
Like a wife.
Most venues don't allow them in either, so I think that's helpful too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'd love to see you perform with your
That'd
dogs
be great,
on stage.
One of these days.
An animal act. You
we'll
can't
do
beat
a dog
that.
Show.
That's just my advice as an older person giving you a young person advice. So did you say you're 24?
24, yes.
So did you study funny in college?
Not by curriculum, but I started doing stand-up when I was in college. I went to college in the Bronx. I was at Manhattan College for about a year and a half, and I did stand-up for the first time during my second semester freshman year, and I did much better than I expected to, because I was like, a lot of people, when they talk about it, they're like, yeah, you're going to bomb your first time.
Did you perform in a venue at the school or in a professional?
The school was hosting, it was called the Diversity Club Presents Black History Month Open Mic Night. So I saw that and I was like, oh, perfect, that's where I belong. Yeah. That's got my name written all over it, obviously. So
it was tailor-made.
Exactly, yeah. They might as well have just put my face on the poster, of course. So I went there and I performed there, but I wrote out my act and I practiced it in my dorm room for like 4 weeks straight, just like every single day.
How long? How many minutes?
It was 5 minutes for that first one. Most open mic sets are 5 minutes long.
Okay.
And I went there and I did that, and it went better than I expected it to. And I was like, well, I guess this is what I do now. And actually, as I was leaving that show that night, I held the door for someone that was behind me, and she said, oh, I was looking for you. Your set was very funny. I'm the president of the Diversity Club. Would you like to perform at the Diversity Night Showcase we're having next month? And I said, you can see me, right? You know I'm not necessarily a very diverse person. And she was like, no, you were funny. You were great. Don't worry about it. So then I performed there. Didn't go as well as the first one, but again, that's just part of it.
Same act or different?
Same act. I think I switched one joke just to kind of change it up a little bit, but I don't think that was what made it not as good. And then I started going to an open mic at a pub that was a few blocks away, and I would go there every single week during the fall semester of the following year, and it got to a point where I was spending more time like writing jokes and working on material than I was on my actual schoolwork, which is not good when you're at a college that's, you know, that expensive because you're wasting your time and money. So what I did was I didn't drop out because of comedy. I also just wasn't very happy there. But I did end up dropping out of Manhattan my second semester sophomore year. Came home, worked all semester, applied to WestCon, got in there, and I was able to graduate from there as if I never took that semester off. And I stayed doing stand-up.
Terrific.
WestCon would have open mics. I did a lot of performances there, and that would be a good place for me to, you know, work on stuff, try things out, and just get better from there. So.
Okay. And if people want to see your act or clips from your act, you have a YouTube channel.
I do have a YouTube channel. I've got some of my stand-up on YouTube, and a bunch of sketch videos that I've written as well are on YouTube.
So when you audition to, well, like, I mean, how do you audition? Do you say, point them towards your YouTube clips? And
if it's a club that I'm close enough to, like Lucy's, I'll find out when they have an open mic night, and I'll go there, and I'll do some of my best stuff there. Hopefully someone who works there sees that and will reach out to me. If not, I'll find a club that if they're taking submissions, I'll email them one of my YouTube videos that I think reflects my set. I recorded a set recently at a show I did at Lucy's Laugh Lounge, actually. It was the night before Thanksgiving. We had a big show there.
Wow.
So I recorded that set, put that up on YouTube. And that's the one that I've been sending to people more often than not.
So I know we talked a little before the show, and you mentioned that you did do some improv. Do you work improv into your set, or you've got a script that you follow?
I have a script that I follow, that I try to follow as often as possible, but it is good to have, you know, that improv background, just because in case something happens in the audience, you can retaliate.
Right. Have you ever been heckled?
I've gotten a few of what I call the helpful heckle, where like people will like yell out thinking that they're helping the show, but there's no such thing as an audience member
yelling.
Like they could be saying the nicest thing to me, and I still really want them to shut up so I can just do my jokes. Like,
do you have a comeback?
Well, I had one, but a show I did at Lucy's in July, I think it was. I have this joke where I talk about how I was on the subway, and I noticed this guy next to me had 4 iPhones. I'm thinking in my head, what can this guy possibly do that allows him to have 4 iPhones? And someone in the crowd yelled out, "He's probably in the mob." And I said back, "Well, maybe, sir, but now is not your turn to talk, so I'm just going to keep going." And that actually got a pretty big laugh, too. So that, it worked in my favor, but I would have preferred if he had said nothing.
Okay, so he thought he should be on stage.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of what hecklers think, right? That
and if you want to be on stage, like I said, open mics on Mondays, just go do that. Leave us alone. Don't yell out during your set.
Oh, well, can you finish that joke? Because
sure.
now you've piqued my interest.
Sorry, I put the bait out there. I'm on the subway, and I noticed this guy next to me has 4 iPhones, one on one leg, 2 sticking out of his pocket, 1 in his hand. So I'm thinking to myself, what in this world can this guy possibly do that allows him to have 4 iPhones? And I can't for the life of me think of anything, so I said, all right, I'm just going to ask him. So I turned to him and I said, "Excuse me, sir, I noticed you have 4 iPhones. What do you do that requires or even allows you to have 4 iPhones?" And he turns to me and he says, "I steal iPhones." And then he punched me in the face and stole my iPhone. So now that guy has 5 iPhones, which is too many.
So is that your best joke? Because I was going to ask you to give me your best joke.
That one's done all right. All right. One joke that I really like that I've been doing for a long time is I talk about how I'm the first member of my family, my direct family, to go away to college after high school. My dad didn't go to college, and my mom took a few years off before going to community college. So the only person I had to really talk to about the whole going away process was my uncle. And he went to a real small art school in the Midwest that had like very obscure but very specific majors. And like to give you an idea what I'm talking about, my uncle majored in fortune telling. And he's unemployed now. Which is weird because you think you would have seen that coming. But it's just a bad fortune teller, like bottom of his class.
I just want you to, I know you can hear me laughing, but we can also hear the people in the
Yes.
control room.
Yeah, that's helpful.
They thought that was hilarious.
Good, I'm glad.
So, and it was. So, and is that true? Is that a true story?
No, it's you
made that up.
It's not. Yeah, I made that up. Yeah. The part about me going to college is true. I did do that. The part about me talking to my uncle about college is true. The part about my uncle going to an art school is true.
Okay, all right. So what about the part about you're the only one in your family?
That part is true. My dad didn't go to college. My mom took a few years off and then went to community college.
So most of that joke was true?
Yeah. Just the funny part's made up. Yeah. Which is how it often is with comedy.
Okay. And your delivery, I mean, you had me on the edge of the seat.
Thank you.
I didn't know where this was going.
Yeah, that's one. I think I did that joke the first time I ever did stand up. And it's still
Was
in
that
my
the first joke
rotation.
you ever wrote, or?
It was up there. It definitely wasn't the first one, but
Okay.
yeah, it's early in the roster. For
So
sure.
maybe you don't want to tell me this, but what's the worst joke? What joke just never
Here's
even
the thing.
gets a giggle?
Here's the thing. I would say like 80% of what I've written is not good enough for me to ever actually say on stage. There's 3 separate notes in my phone right now. I have them separated by year. And if I have an idea for a joke, I'll just type it into that note. And like I said, 80% of each of those is garbage. And I'll maybe try some of them at open mics. And if it works, maybe I'll work on it, develop it, try to combine it with something else from early on. If not, cool. I'll never say it out loud in front of a human being ever again. But one of my favorite joke that I think doesn't get enough love is I talk about how I used to work across the street from a deli that I would go to every day for lunch. And it was my favorite place to go to for lunch. I would just go there every day. And it got to a point where after a while, I would become friendly with the staff there. And like the cashier, him and I would like talk about our day and stuff like that. And one day, I got into the deli and there was a customer there who was just screaming at the cashier, just really losing his mind, unloading on the cashier. And by the time I got over there to see what was going on, the guy had left. And so I asked the cashier, hey, what was that all about? Like, what? That guy seemed crazy. What was going on? The cashier tells me that guy was really upset because all he wanted was a cucumber that had been brined in vinegar, but the deli was all out of cucumbers that had been brined in vinegar, and he was upset because he wanted one on a sandwich, but there were no cucumbers that had been brined in vinegar left. And so I said to the cashier, oh man, that is a pickle.
Well, again, the control room loved it.
Good,
I can hear it from here.
That is one of my favorite jokes that I've ever written. And I
uh,
know it's not great, but it has a special place in my heart.
No, I mean, I maybe it goes on a little too long. Just
Yeah, no, that's fair.
criticism.
That's fair.
But,
That's
yeah,
fair.
That's,
There's plenty of things bad about it. I'm not gonna sit
Not
here and
your
act like
best
that's
work.
my great. I have that joke tattooed on my back. That's how much I love it. But
not your best work. is
Yeah,
what you're
no, that's
saying.
fair.
No, but not completely not
thank
funny.
you, thank you.
At all.
I'll still do that during shows.
And?
Just because I'm like, screw you guys, I love this one. Like this one's for me. I'll do 9 minutes for them and 1 for me. Like that's.
I love the pickle joke.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that the crew
Yeah.
here, they love the pickle joke
Good,
too.
I'm glad.
So, and it's not just because we love you.
Thank you.
Because we know you.
Right.
Because you are a volunteer here at Comcast, which we thank you for very much.
of course.
You've come and done
My
camera
pleasure.
work on this show, Locally Sourced, many times, and you're very quiet.
Yeah.
You know, you're a good guy. You come in, you do the thing.
You're not supposed to talk during the show, so that's.
Well,
a big part of it,
yeah, but even before and after, I mean, it's not like you're making a lot of jokes around here. So, so are you, known to be sort of the class clown, the life of the party? Because
when I was in high school, I even younger than that, I did love to make people laugh in class to the point where like
you got in trouble, I hope.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
there
good.
were, but what I would do is I would try to make the teachers laugh as well. So I'd be like, well, if the teacher's laughing, they can't be that bad because like clearly they're having fun too.
Yeah.
But it did get to a point where one day in 8th grade, I had to have like a meeting with my parents and all my teachers.
Because you're so funny in class?
A little bit. They were like, hey, you just got to cut it out. Like, we get it. We understand. But for your benefit, stop.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was like, in the moment, I was like, this sucks. This is the worst day of my life. I am very sad about this. But also looking back,
That was like
they don't know what they're talking about. I was hilarious always.
Plus, I mean, yeah, and I would look at that as a badge of honor because you're so funny and so disruptive that they had to put a stop to it.
But it wasn't even like always jokes. Sometimes I would just be like trying to have a conversation with the teacher during class, and they'd be like, "I have a full lesson to teach," like, which is fair. That is their job.
Yeah,
that's their job to do.
Just answering your questions.
Right, exactly. They don't want to talk about their weekend.
You're looking for material, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
So there is a German word for someone who consistently and obsessively makes jokes. Do you know that word? I don't know it either, but I know I have that condition, obviously, and I'm glad you're a fellow sufferer. Yeah. So
there's a German word for when you're trying to think of a word but you can't remember it. Probably, I don't know.
Did you just make that joke up right on the spot? Wow. You're terrific. So just want to mention again how people can see your work, how they can get in touch with you so they can book you.
The next live show, like I said, Lucy's Laugh Lounge, December 27th. It's called Welcome to the Party. It's going to be a great show. You can reach me on Instagram. That's where I post all about upcoming shows. That's where I post some material. At Frankie_Becerra. Because at Frankie Becerra has not responded to my messages about me purchasing his name from him. But at Frankie Becerra, if you're watching this, please.
Okay. So Frankie Becerra, your father? Is that who you're talking about now?
No. That's just some other Frankie Becerra in the world. Yeah.
Becerra.
Yeah, some other Instagram account with the same name.
Oh, okay. Because your dad's pretty well known in these parts.
Yes, he's also on Instagram.
And he's an artist as you are
he's
as
a
well.
photographer,
So just a plug for Dad. Yeah. And so, I'm getting the sign that this hilarity has to stop.
Already?
I know. It's very sad.
Flies by.
But thank you so much, Frankie.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for, your loyalty to be a volunteer, and everyone else is a volunteer, and people who watch.
Thank you.